So we're now starting the second drafting plate for our Curious Savage set design. So once again, set up your page, your drafting plate, as we normally do, with a 1/4 inch border all the way around, and the title block in the bottom right hand corner. If you need help on how to set this all up, please refer to the video linked in the card at the top. The things that's different about this one in the title block, so what changes is, instead of from the first one we had set ground plan, now it's set elevation, because remember, first line is the title of the show, the second line is what is this drawing. We're doing a set elevation now. Then you have your name, scale is 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches, the date that you complete the drawing, and the plate number is going to be 2 of 4 because this is our second drawing that we're doing for this. Alright, so to start off, we're going to draw a line across the page from one end of the drafting plate all the way across. Then I'm going to take my 1/4 inch scale ruler. I'm going to measure down 8 feet. I'm going to measure that on either side. So I'm measuring down 8 feet from the line. Reason being is I'm making my walls based off of a standard flat, which is 8 feet tall. And then I'm going to draw that line all the way across. So now I have one big wall that goes all the way across. So why do I have this? Well, this is what set elevation is. It's to show me what's on the walls of my set. So if I come back to my ground plan, this shows me where the walls are and how wide they are, but it doesn't show me how tall the walls are or what's on those walls. And that's where the elevation comes into play. So I'm going to start off with just one big wall that goes all the way across. And from here, I'll add in the walls for my set. So this gives me the correct dimensions of the spacing. I'm going to draw a vertical line because I don't want to actually start a wall on my border line. So I'm going to take my straight edge and just move in a little bit and make a straight line up and down. And that's going to start the first wall. I'm going to erase to save confusion. That right there. Now I'm going to come back to my ground plan, and I'm going to measure this first wall section from here to here. Now, it doesn't really matter what the scale is because I'm doing everything in 1/4 inch scale. My height is already set. I just need this physical length, because this is drawn in 1/4 inch scale, and transpose it up here. So I can use my 1/4 inch scale, or I could just use a regular inches and centimeters, and just, because whatever this line is, that's what I need to draw. And so this is about 15 feet. So I'm going to Measure that at the top and bottom. And then I'm going to connect. So I have my first wall section. I'm gonna skip over a little bit. Doesn't matter how much. You just don't want the walls touching each other, because then it will become difficult when we have to cut these out later. And then I'll measure over the next wall section. Next wall section. Now I can do this from here to here, or I can just do this small chunk followed by this chunk, then this chunk, then this chunk, or I can do the window unit as one big chunk, and then the walls on either side of the window unit as separate chunks. I'm going to, for sake of ease, I think I'm going to just do this as one big chunk, and we'll add in the window as we go. Now, since what's left over here is not much room, I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. And I'll have to start the third wall. Down here. So a lot of you are probably going to have at least 2 rows to get all of your walls in. So this one is measure down 8 feet on either side. What was that again? 16.5. Bottom 16.5. And so now I have my 3 wall sections based off of my ground plan. So if you don't do your ground plan, you won't be able to do your elevation. If you don't do your elevation, you won't be able to do the model. And each one of these is a quarter of your final grade. So make sure you're doing each step as we go along. So if I cut out this wall piece and I stood it right here, it should fit right on that line, because everything is done in 1/4 inch scale, and so we're just taking this size and making it right there. But now I need to add in, I have just the blank walls, I need to add in my doors and my windows. So there, I do need to be a little more careful in my measuring. So from the end of the wall to where the door starts is 6 feet. So I'll come over, measure 6 feet at the top and bottom, so that I can connect those lines. So that is the start of my door, and then it should be 3 feet in to the middle of the door, and another 3 feet to the other outside end of the door. So 3 feet, and then 6 feet. And at the top, 3 feet and 6 feet. So that is the size of the door that I made from this double door here. Now on my ground plan, my door is drawn in the open position. Doors are drawn in the open position to show which way they open, the direction they open. But for the elevation, we're going to always draw them in the closed position. And so then I can just draw in the door handle, assuming they're little round door handles. And now on this one wall section, I can now start putting in whatever else decoration I want on this. So if I want one of my 2 required electrical outlets to be on this wall, I can do that. Now I probably don't want to put it over too much over here, as according to my ground plan, there's a piano covering most of this wall, so everything that's below the height of the piano is going to be covered up. But I don't have any furniture pieces over in this corner, so that would probably be the best place to put my electrical outlet if I'm wanting to put one on this wall. But before I do that, I kind of want to do what's called wainscoting. It's that paneling that goes up about halfway up the wall. And so now you can look up the height of wainscoting and then measure that up, or you can kind of eyeball it. It's just usually just a little bit below halfway down the wall. The idea is you put what's called a chair rail along the top of it. So the idea is the back of a chair, if pushed up against the wall, would hit that little bump of wood that's, or the chair rail, and then the backs of chairs don't scratch up your walls. And so you have that. And then wainscoting is a special treatment or paneling that is below, so that any, once again, either kicking or scuffs from furniture doesn't mess up your walls. And so I'm going to do paneling style. And so I'm going to try to do wood paneling. I want to try to make this as even as I can. Now, if I was doing this properly and taking my time, I would go through and measure out the width of each one of these. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to eyeball it. Nope, my lines are getting angled because I'm not paying attention. It's one of the reasons where measuring it would actually come in handy, because then I wouldn't start getting angled lines. Or I could use this plastic triangle the correct way. Since I know this is a 90 degrees, if I line the bottom with the bottom of the wall, then I know everything I make along this edge will be straight up and down. So perhaps I should do that. Alright. So now I have my walls, my doors, my wainscoting. Now is where I'm going to put in my electrical plug. So I'm just drawing in a rectangle, and I'm going to put 2 circles in it to represent an electrical plug, because it's something designers always forget to put on in the box sets: light switches and electrical plugs. Since they're not functional, people tend to forget about them, but it's a tiny detail that sometimes is helpful, because maybe I want to put a lamp in this corner. Well, if the cable of the lamp is just dangling off the table, that's going to look weird. But if it goes towards the wall, then, oh look, it looks more realistic. And in this play, there actually is a gag about flipping light switches on and off, so let's go ahead and put a light switch. They're usually by doors, and this door, if y'all remember, our double doors have an outdoor and an indoor. Since this is the indoor, let's put our light switch on that side of it. So we're going to, again, just a small little rectangle on the wall. I'm going to put a little dash in there to represent the switch. Now, from here, so a piece of furniture of a piano will get put in front of this, but that's not going to go all the way up, so I can always add some picture frames or paintings on the wall. Or higher up. So I just have a little doodle in there. I don't have to get very detailed, because I don't know. I I may not have to know exactly what that picture is. So I can just put a little doodle to show that it's a painting, not a mirror. And then you can just add whatever else you want on that. And you just continue that for the rest of the room. So I'm going to move on to, let's go down to the other door size over here. So this door on this wall, I need to now measure from corner to the edge of the door and so forth to add my door in. And then this one is going to be that tall bookshelf, and this is going to be a short little table. So because of the table here, this is probably the wall that I'm going to put that mirror that she looks into when she's talking about the color of her hair, since that's one of our only walls that's not covered. So it's about from corner to the door, about 7 feet. So I'm going to measure along the bottom, 7 feet, go to the top and measure 7 feet, take my straight edge, and then fairly confident my door was 3 feet. I'm going to double check just in case I did something different. Just barely 3 feet. Mark at the top. Mark at the bottom. So I've got 3 feet over, 3 feet over. Take my straight edge. Now, since this door swings this way, means my doorknob's going to be on that side, which would be right about here. Now, since I did a wainscoting, I need to make sure that on all the rest of my walls, when I put this on, that I do it at the same height as all of them, so that when they line up, they're not two different heights going. So for this, I do need to get a little bit more accurate and figure out that that is about 3 feet 9 inches. Look on both sides. Yeah, about 3 feet 9 inches looks like it. And then I'll do that over here. Feet is, so I've measured up 3 feet 9 inches on both sides. Being careful not to draw my line through my door, and then I can continue doing the wainscoting like I did up here, and then I can start decorating the walls with what I want on them. This is going to have a bookshelf covering most of it, so probably not going to have anything here, but I think I'm going to put a little mirror piece here. And so we'll look at that when we come back. Alright, so I have this first wall done with a picture, light switch, electrical outlet. I'll probably go back in and put some more pictures on this wall. May go look through the script and see if there's anything specific else I need potentially on that wall. Here, I have this wall blank because a giant bookcase is going to be right in front of it, so there's probably not going to be anything there. And so I have the second electrical outlet here, because there's going to be a little table here, and then the mirror on the wall there for her to look in and talk about the color of her hair. Now, originally I was kind of thinking for the back wall that has the window seat of just doing it as one big wall, but I think, especially since we're going to be cutting these out to make the model, that it's going to be easier to do each section of this wall as a separate piece. And so for this corner to corner, I'm going to actually be drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little mini walls that will all add up to that. So just kind of continue what we did before. Measure and mark. So this first section, 3 feet. Skip a little bit. I'm just not going to skip as much. And I'm going to measure my next section. just barely have enough room. Alright. So I now have each section of the walls. So this section and this section, the two end ones, are going to need to get this wainscoting paneling. I'm going to go ahead and add those in. So I'm going to check my measurement. I'm just going to come down to this one. I've got mark here and over here. Oh, that was stupid. Don't need it to go through the windows. But now that I've made a mistake, I need to go in and fix it. Crooked. Alright, so now I've got the wainscoting on both pieces. Now I'm ready to move on. So this is where I need to decide what is the height of my window seats that's going to go across. I'm probably going to do it at a typical chair height of about 18 inches. So I'm going to do about for this, about 1.5 feet tall. I'm going to come to my first window seat section, and I'm going to measure up a 1.5 feet, and I'm going to come over to the far section, measure up 1.5 feet. And then I can try and skip the gap spots. And so then that should roughly represent the seated portion. And then I can put a little lip on it, or maybe this is the cushion. See, now it's starting to pop out a little more. Alright, so now I'm going to try to figure out my windows. I want the windows to start just a little bit above where the seat, and I'm just going to eyeball this part here. If the seat is right here, I'm going to go up to wherever looks good. Because you don't want the windows starting right at the seat. You want a little lip, window sill lip that goes up. And I also need to come in from the sides of each wall, because you also don't want your window going all the way to the edge of the wall. Now we're going to put the top seal across the top. And for this one, I could take it like almost up to the edge of the top of the wall, but I kind of want it to come down a little further, because I want to put something up on top of that section, maybe. See, now it's already starting to form our window. Now the type of window I'm going for is going to have window panes, several little squares, and so I'm going to draw those in. Alright, so I've kind of gone ahead and around my large window. I've placed marks every foot along the top and bottom and down the sides. I just kind of figured 1 foot square window panes would look neat. It doesn't fully go, so I'm going to have a less than a foot section off to the side here, which I'm kind of okay with for this project. If I wanted to be more precise, I would measure out that and then divide it out to see maybe it would be an 1.5 inches or inch and three, or sorry, not inch, 1.3 inches or something to kind of spread it out more evenly. But I'm going to go a little quicker than that, and we're just going to go with 1-inch squares, and it's going to fall the way it's going to fall. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the top and bottom 1-inch spots on the little windows as well. And since that's about 2 inches, it's just going to be down, pretty much down the center. And since this is about a 1/4 inch scale 2-foot window, which this one's not, but we're just going to kind of eyeball it. Alright, so this window ended up being about 2 feet, so doing 1-foot squares is going to just make it run down the middle. This window's a little less than that, but we're just going to kind of cheat it and just run down the middle so that it's visually it will mirror this other side, even if the dimensions are not exact. So with this one, I'm just going to eyeball the middle. And I'll go through and mark the rest of the up and downs. So now I have the vertical panes. And so I've put the 1-foot marks on the sides of this big window, but since my straight edge reaches all the way across, when I line it up, I can go ahead and put them through the other sides as well. And so now I have window seat right here, and then the windows. And it didn't take very intuitive drawing talent to make something that kind of it's come to life there. You just need to use a straight edge and kind of think about your positioning of things. So now I'm going to go through and probably put some more stuff on the walls. I think I'm going to put the dartboard they talk about up here. So for that, I'm just going to draw a simple circle, a bullseye in the center, and then radiating out lines. And maybe one more circle. And for the most part, picture frames on the wall. Trying to think of what else I kind of want for, as far as this demo video. I can't think of anything else that I want to throw on here. Just go back to your script and your script analysis and see what other things are mentioned on the walls and add those to it. If you are doing a type of wallpaper, like repeating pattern wallpaper, actually, let me show that on a little scrap paper here. So if you have your wall, alright, so if you're wanting to create, instead of doing wainscoting like I did, paneling, if you wanted to do wallpaper the whole way down, would suggest doing very light guidelines. Kind of evenly space them out. Probably would be better. Let me even demonstrate this by, let's say, every foot. Oh, and I just happened to put that at the foot mark. Actually, I'm drawing these a little too thick. I really want them to be lighter. Now, if your wallpaper design has bold lines separating it, then yeah, you can go ahead and draw them thick. If not, you want to do these lines lightly so that they almost disappear, especially when you color it. Because mostly these vertical lines are being used to keep us a guide, to keep our pattern going in the same direction. Now, don't sit here and try to intricately draw out a very floral, intricate pattern on this little 1/4-inch scale model. That is not what this is for. In a full-fledged design packet, you would have a separate page where you would show what the exact repeating pattern is. For this, we just want little doodle squiggles to kind of give us a representation of a repeating pattern. And if that squiggle is going over and over, you have it lined up all the way across, or maybe you want to stagger them for each panel. Maybe you're wanting that even patterning, or perhaps you're wanting that more staggered pattern. Either one is fine. It's your choice. It's your design. But you see how quickly I just kind of did a little squiggles to kind of represent something. I mean, if I wanted, I could do little round spiral squiggles to represent a more rounded floral shape. Come in a little. and so forth. You don't want to necessarily be uber precise. You're just going to frustrate yourself just because this is a small detail on a small scale. So when we back it out. So if you're doing a kind of a wallpaper design, that's the way of going about doing that. I mean, I could even on up here in the upper parts do a design. If I was going to, because of the lines here, I probably wouldn't draw in the vertical lines. I would probably just have it very, very, very light, like over here where it's almost not visible, just so that I stay straight, and I would have the patterns dispersed throughout here, but I would want them very dull so that they're not overpowering the design, this other stuff I have drawn on the walls. Alright, so that's pretty much it, but before we finish, I kind of want to label these things so that I remember what walls are what. So this wall right here was this wall over here, and so I'm going to call that my stage right wall. And so just below it, I'm going to write, I'm going to give myself a guideline to write on. I'm just going to do in all capitals, stage right, wall. And so if that's my stage right wall, this is going to be my stage left. Wall. So this up center wall or center wall, because I have it broken up in different pieces, I kind of want to label those pieces so that they go together. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to label it, I could do just center wall. So I could do this one center wall stage left or stage right, and this one's center wall stage left, so that I know which pieces go on which side. I could just do center wall A, center wall B, center wall C, center wall D, center wall E, and that would help me keep them straight when I cut them out. I could also just do center wall A, center wall B, window seat A, B, and C. So it's however makes the most sense to you to kind of make sure they all are kind of connected together somehow. So I'm going to do CW for center wall dash A, and then CW dash B. So it represents center wall A, center wall B, center wall C, and so forth. Alright, so now I have, so from my ground plan, I have created an elevation plan. It gives me my 3 main wall sections, and then the one wall broken up into smaller sections, and then each piece is labeled. Alright. Now, the next step after you finish your elevation is you'll turn it in. I'll make a photocopy, so one will go together with your design packet, and then one will get cut out to be used in the model, which we'll go over in the next video.